sink for another round of honing. Got this lovely gold dollar. Got this little array of penguins. Put them over here out of harm's way. And I have this stone, right? Black Shadow. Not my first encounter with one, but one I had been lent by a friend. Didn't have a label on it. There was no confirmation. I mean, I believe the guy, it is what it is, but here I went and bought one, all right, because I needed to iron something out in my head. The gold dollar. I don't like these razors. Someone just made a comment on my Instagram. He's like, be careful, you're going to incite the gold dollar haters. I'm kind of a gold dollar hater. Yeah, they're $5, but the scales suck, the grind sucks, the steel doesn't really hold an edge as long as I want it to, the geometry sucks. The only redeeming factor is that it's $5, and if you can get one to take an edge, which isn't really that difficult, if you want it to take a good edge, then you have to like really work at it, and you'll see like a massive amount of spine wear on here, and there's a reason for that. And the grind isn't too bad, then like, you know, you can use it for a while, but I don't like them. I happen to have two in boxes. Well, now I have one in a box in this one, and I wanted to do some testing. So I have this Black Shadow. I also had this guy here, all right, which is now all wet. So what is that? What it is, let me just dunk it, all right? What it is water of air on one side and tam o'shanter on the other. So it's a little bit of a gray tam, right? So it's kind of like very mid-range, as opposed to the whiter ones, which are a finer type of mid-range. And then you have the alleged fine water of air side. So I have that. I got this guy. And there are a host of other stones out here on the sink also. I have an Escher, right? I have an Escher slurry stone. This is the slurry stone for the Black Shadow, and then there's a translucent arc. This is old, very old pike. Very good stone. And I have my 10K, which was a benchmark. For the testing process, I have my Snow White and my trusty 1K. Why are these all out? Well, because I'm honing. That's why. So anyway, a couple of people asked me what I thought about this stone, and it's like, well, you know, it's a piece of slate, and slate is usually just slate, and anyone who thinks like random slate is going to be some sort of answer to life is probably trying to sell you that slate. Now, I've had a lot of slate here from all over the, you know, from Maine, Vermont, New York border, all throughout New England, Pennsylvania, down south on the eastern seaboard. I've had a ton of slate here because I kept looking to see if slate could be something I would want to use as a hone. And it turns out that, generally speaking, no, it isn't. Now, why is an Escher, which is a slate, any different? Well, this was a different deposit. It was a deposit in Europe. The age of the deposit, the type of deposit, the quality control on the stones, and the this and the that, all factors into something that we're not getting with, you know, Home Depot slates, right? And to be completely honest, I don't really use Eschers that much. They kind of don't have like that little jazzy feeling under the blade. I mean, it's a brain dead principle, and I can really like, you know, use it as a barber hone. But I mean, these things now are priced ridiculous. Stone like this, it's probably like $500-600, and I couldn't justify it. I've had this a long time. Anyway, I like it because it's historical, you know. So been around since the 1700s, I think, that company. Anyway, so I have this guy here. So out of all the gold dollars, I want to say this that I've had, this one had the best basic edge geometry. And what I'm talking about is these blades are famous for having wider toes and wider heels, so you get this like weird scoop thing. So you relax the heel in to get to a point where, and you can see it if you're in the magnification, you look at this fat thick piece of steel here where it meets the blade, you see where you need to hone from. If you don't do that, you can always get the steel on the stone. You can always put an edge on it, but what you're doing is technically, okay, if the heel is fatter, right? You're always up a little tiny bit, little tiny bit, and that's why I see so many thinner toes. It's just like a wear pattern that you really don't need. It makes the blade look ugly. I have one like that around here somewhere. Anyway, this one needed less work in that area. The bevel angle is still stupidly fat, but better now. You can see the hone wear on here is significant. And why was it significant? Well, to test the stone, I go back and forth, and I was comparing it, to this guy, right? So I would hone to 8K, right, here, and then compare, finish here, check the edge. Hone on the 8K, shave on the 8K, finish on here, shave on here, and then do the same here, and then hone to 8K, finish on the water of air, check that edge, and then do a finish on the black shadow, and then do the reverse. I think I've honed this about 20 times in the past few weeks, trying to get a read. So why is it important to me? Because it is. Too many times I read, and sometimes I hear, mostly I read, forums and Facebook groups, I need a better finisher. My usual response is, maybe you just need a better bevel set. Maybe you need to work more on your groundwork than spending money on a finisher, because the theory is, amongst people who are new, they think that your sharpness comes from, your finishing stuff, right? They think if you get an escher, you get a sharper edge. Most sharpness is developed 1 to 5K, 1 to 8K in there. That's your sharpness. Your polishing, and polishing and honing is the same thing, by the way. It's scratching steel. We call it polishing because the finer scratches reflect light more than coarser ones do. So people call it polishing, but it's all the same action. You're scratching steel with finer and finer abrasives, so the scratches are closer together and they're more and more shallow. You develop a more reflective surface as you go along, usually. There are exceptions to that rule. Cuticules, for example, bevels often look like complete hell. Same with like old school Laloons. I don't know about the new ones. If the new ones are made by the people who made this, maybe not. The old ones, though, killer sharpness, ridiculous sharpness, but the bevel and the apex were kind of horrific looking. Wasn't about a long-term thing with those stones. It was really just about in the moment, get an edge so you can shave. If we're talking about like, pure refinement and, edge wonderment, that's a different type of thing. But anyway, your sharpness is developed between 1 and 8K, and then you polish, and you polish, and you polish. And what the polishing does is it allows the sharpness you built to shine. It allows it to come through. It allows you to experience it. Yes, semantics, all right? You want to get into semantics. Yes, the finisher is allowing the sharpness to come out, so technically you are making a sharper edge. You're just aligning and smoothing and polishing, okay? Hope that makes sense. If you're new and it doesn't make sense, trust me. Anyway, so what I found was the water of air, right, did better than this, all right? So I got finer, better shaves, and by better shaves, smoother, closer, better cutting off of the water of air than this. The black shadow did not improve my snow white edge. I feel as though the water of air sort of went neck and neck with the snow white, but maybe allowed a little bit less of the synthetic feel. Very, very hard to sort of pin that down. But the water of air outperformed this. This did not do anything really for my 8K edge. And the benchmark here was the 10K, right? Don't worry, we're going to get to some honing. I feel as though the water of air did a little bit of something for the 10K edge. Again, with the smoothness thing. The black shadow, the 10K definitely topped that edge. much better. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the edge off of my 10K Shapton glass was actually sharper, keener than it was off the Water of Air. But not by a whole lot. Enough, but it wasn't like several orders of magnitude. Way better than the Black Shadow. The Black Shadow, to me, I'm just going to like throw this out there. I'm looking at this as being kind of like the Dragon's Tongue, another stone that didn't really impress me. When I came into honing 12-something years ago, people were talking on various platforms about the Dragon's Tongue and how it was 10, 12, 14K, and I've read similar things about this, and I'm not getting it. I don't see it, I didn't experience it, and if you don't agree with me, well, I don't really care. I put in a lot of back and forth testing here, more than most people, okay, are going to be able to lay claim to, honestly, and the Water of Air outperformed it. Now, this Escher outperforms the Water of Air, right? And so does my Pike Translucent. Anyway, so that's just what I feel about those stones, right? I wanted to talk about that. The finishing thing is because people want to run out and they want to buy a finisher, and it's all about the finisher. And you know, if your groundwork isn't nailed, no finisher, no Escher, no Water of Air, no 10K glass, nothing is going to save your edge. All right, your groundwork must be nailed. I tell people all the time, hone so you can shave off your bevel setter. And people squawk. They don't want to hear that because it doesn't align with spending money. Spending money is easy, right? Anybody can spend money, right? And then people are always looking for the easy way out. I just need to buy a better stone. No, you need to be a better honer. Most of the time, all right? So we're gonna take this lovely gold dollar, right? And wait a second. Oh, that's the other thing. You know, the slurry stone for the Black Shadow. This did nothing to advance the edge. However, it did make it a little coarser, so it was a little easier to work on a stone from a lower grit, like a 3K. All right. And then going to water only was a little bit better. Same kind of thing goes on with Eschers, I find, although it's not as pronounced. But this slurry, the slime, that, you know, you'll read, oh, I got a slurry in my Escher. People got a slurry everything. Slurry isn't automatically going to sharpen things, but what making the slurry does is refresh the surface. So if your surface is nice and like fresh, you get a nice cut on the steel, nice polish. You have no loaded areas. Everything is even. Can you hear that? I'm gonna come back here. Very nice sound. Very good feel. Now someone's going to say, well, I got to spend $600 to get a good edge. No, you don't. You can buy a 12K Naniwa. That'll put on a decent edge. You want a little bit better, get yourself a nice hard cuticle. Learn how to use it. Get yourself a piece of translucent arc. But the garden variety stones touted as finishers always seem to unimpress me. One thing that's nice about Eschers, you can hone on them forever. I have never seen a wire edge off an Escher. Using a little bit of pressure, just some. Reason is because I honed this a day, two ago, I forget exactly. Honed it so many times, everything's a blur. And then I shaved on it. I'll use a little tiny bit of pressure till I get that feel. Till I feel as though the base of the bevel is really evening up and the apex is evening out, and I don't have anything creating a feeling or a vibration or whatever that shouldn't be there. There's a little tiny bit of a smile. So it's so tiny that you can actually not roll and still get the edge, but yeah, I know there are going to be people who are like, well, I have the black shadow and I think it's great. Well, good for you. I'm happy for you. It's like the people who have Norton 8K stones and think that, you know, it leaves a shaving edge. In a way, I'm jealous of those people because the Norton 8K doesn't do it for me, and neither does that black shadow. Neither did a lot of other stones. You know, what was it, the Camrock Silkstone? Another big meh for me. I thought it was going to change my life because of the name, Silkstone. And I got a labeled one, and it was like, ugh. And people talk about them like they do a great job. I don't know, maybe they have easier whiskers to cut. Maybe they hone so well that their edges are just infinitely sharper than mine. That was sarcasm. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Different people can have different standards. Different people can have different opinions. Honing isn't about majority rule. Try things. See what you like. Try a black shadow. If you like it, good. Doesn't mean I'm going to like it. I don't know what to do with it now. Label was nice. I had to seal it. Got wet and started to dissolve. You would think people in this day and age making a hone, a water stone, or a stone to be used with water or oil, you would think, right, that they would use a waterproof label. $1800s, yeah, okay, I get it. Alright, this is about as far as that Escher is ever going to go with this edge. Clean it off for a sec. The label on this is sealed too. Don't ask me what I used to seal it because I'm not going to tell you. The reason I'm not going to tell anyone is because I've seen too many people destroy labels. I don't think they're all made the same and all have the same ink, and I don't know that the product I use to seal that is going to be conducive with everybody's label and ink. So, to be honest, I don't even know if I remember what it was. I used Krylon on this, all right, which just happened to be out because I was working on a guitar, and I don't normally have Krylon around. It's not my type of rattle can paint, but I got a free can from somebody. So anyway, we got this. All right, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of this. Really diluted that, okay? Really diluted it. You know, I keep picking up like something on here, like dust, or what the hell it is. I know I don't want it there. Okay. There's a little bit of soap here. picked it up on my finger and squished it on. Just want a little bit to break surface tension. Makes like a little bit of a lube, not a whole lot. You know, translucent arcs and whatever, the black ultrafines from Dan's and Prada, not expensive. You can master working with one of these. Be hard pressed to improve upon that. I mean, it's all well and good to want like a different type of edge, just for the case of like, you know, being a connoisseur of different stones and stuff. But if you're just talking about, you know, baseline, want to improve my finish, Arkansas stone is great. I sell those small J-nats in my store. I don't know, $1.80, $1.90, some a little more. Once in a while I get one that's got a flaw and I sell it as a frugal, and a little bit less. All tested, all work, good finishes. And I use them. I use them all the time. And yeah, I have, you know, humongous J-nats with like stamps and provenance and history and yada yada yada. I have them too. And they're nice. And I like honing on them. But I hone on a lot of different things. I use this little guy a little bit. I was thinking of selling it, and I still may, because it's like 5 by, I don't know, 2. And I kind of wish I could get this in a 6 by 2. But I can tell you right now, this edge is screaming. Anything that the 10K left, that was the last test, by the way, was a straight 10K edge. I had done it a few times throughout the testing process, and then I finished off with that. It's really a nice little 10K. There are more expensive 10Ks, and I've had them. And I honestly, I gotta tell you, I don't think they're worth it, and I don't think they're giving me anything that I'm not getting from that shaft and glass. But, you know, the dick measuring is real online. And sometimes honing becomes more of a, you know, like you have shave of the day. A lot of times it becomes, how much did you spend on your shave today? If you want to hone, you can get a few Shapton Pros or a couple of glass stones, 3, maybe 4. Decent finisher, a piece of cuticle. You're going to spend a little money, but you don't have to like not pay your mortgage. And if it gets to that point, then like buy 2 stones and wait. No rush. Don't get caught up in the internet hype thing where every time somebody buys something, they got to put a picture of it on their Instagram. I would rather see a picture of a stone after somebody's used it 30 or 40 times and has something intelligent to say. But that's me. General mood is, the second it's out of the box, it's on Facebook. And there's really nothing wrong with that, but when it comes to like, you know, hones and stuff, I really need the information more than I need to just look at it and know that like you bought a pretty rock. That's where I'm at. I had a Facebook group and it was based on posting information, but people couldn't get away from posting shave of the day photos, so canceled the group. There were a handful of people who were into the basic premise, but not enough to carry it through. And wherever you're at, I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just me, where I'm at is like, yeah, I just want to know about the stone. I want to see what kind of edge I can get out of it. If someone tells me one stone is better than another stone, I'll probably buy one and check it out. Like I did with this black shadow thing. Because that's me. Anyway, so that's the deal. If you're walking around and you're thinking, man, I got to get a better finisher, ask yourself, have you done as much as you can with your bevel setter first? Because if you haven't, spending money on a finisher isn't going to help you. And a better finisher, well, I like arcs, I like helicols, I like eshers. Not into Home Depot slates, not into a lot of generic things. But to each their own. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. That includes me, so that's mine. That seems to bother some people, but I'm okay with that. I don't do this to, you know, go along with the flow. I just do this because I like to shave and I like to shave well. Anyway, so that's it. That's the video. I hope you had a good time watching this. I hope you learned some things. If you have questions, post them down below. So anyway, this is all about having fun for me, and I hope the same for you. That's all this is fun. It's not a life. It's not a lifestyle. It's not anything other than like I get my stones out and make an edge so I can have a great shave, and I hope the same goes for you too. Until next time, take care. Talk to you soon.